from his studios in New York, it's time for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's your host, Dan Tortora.
Good morning, and what is up to everybody out there in the universe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Very proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, hanging out here on the airwaves worldwide. You can get the show on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. It's as easy as that, folks. All you have to do is go to mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. You could also go to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, pick up the MixLR feed there, and become a member that way as well. It's free and it's easy to become a member, and membership has its privileges. For free, you become a member. It's not free with purchase, free with this, free with that. It's absolutely free. You become a member, and you could do two awesome things. Number one, you could chat with us in the live chat room during every live show. Number two, you'll be emailed every single time the show goes live, so you'll never miss a live show again. And whatever device you're using for the internet, be it your smartphone, iPad, iPod, iThis, iThat, tablet, Apple, smart, whatever they call it, whatever the kids call it these days, it's funny to say, desktop and laptop, you can hang out with the show and make sure that you're tuning in. And all you have to do is open your email when you're a member on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. All you have to do is open your email and click to listen. It sends you an email as soon as we go live. It says Wake Up Call is live, and then you open your email. It says click to listen, and there you go. Simple as that. Wherever you are, whatever device you're using, whatever your day calls of you, make sure you're listening to Wake Up Call right here with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com and mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We got a fun morning for you. Let's hop into the morning menu, let you know what's coming up.
Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We like to start off the show by giving you our menu of topics. The morning menu, that is. Live now with the morning menu is Dan Tortora.
Right here today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Monday, October 1st. We got a lot of show coming up for you today. Very excited about this and appreciate you being here and listening in to the show. We're going to start off like we always do on a Monday, and that is with the Monday Morning Quarterback, folks. It's a new segment to the show that we started just a few weeks ago, Monday Morning Quarterback. And what that is you know the moniker of the Monday Morning Quarterback, right? You watch the games on Saturday, you watch the games on Sunday, you get up on Monday, and you call up the radio station and say, this is what I think about this guy. This is how I think our line is doing. This is how the quarterback's playing. This is what I want to see happen from here on out. This is the wide receiver that I'm looking to step up. You're the Monday Morning Quarterback, right? You watch the games, and then you give your thoughts on your team and what's going on and what matters to you. Well, we took that moniker, we took the Monday Morning Quarterback, and we turned it into a segment where on every Monday morning we have a quarterback who played for Syracuse, and that is Marvin Graves. He wore number 5, and in my opinion wore it very well. So the Monday Morning Quarterback segment is here. It is real, and it is awesome. I cannot wait to share it with you today. Monday Morning Quarterback, our opportunity to have our Monday Morning Quarterback speak with you, and that just happens to be Marvin Graves, who spent time with the Syracuse Orange. And the last time Syracuse started 4-0 was when Marvin Graves was the quarterback of the team all the way back in 1991. So the man knows how to win, knows how to get it done, and that success that he has is truly something special. So welcome to our Monday Morning Quarterback segment that's coming up every single Monday, including this morning, around 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure that you are tuning in for that in just a few minutes. Then after that, we'll do what we always do on a Monday in the second hour of the show, and that is where we go on the prowl. On the prowl is my Jacksonville Jaguars coverage, and you're going to have the opportunity today to hear from numerous players. They include tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins, cornerback A.J. Boye, as well as defensive tackle Malik Jackson, starting left tackle who's taken the place for Cam Robinson, who's out with a torn ACL, that being Josh Wells. He'll be joining the show today for the first time ever. We also have fullback Tommy Bohannon, wide receiver and returner Jadon Mickens, and tight end James O'Shaughnessy will all be joining the show following the Jacksonville Jaguars' victory 31-12 over the visiting New York Jets. So you'll hear from the Jaguars, and we'll go on the prowl and talk about the game and how Blake Bortles had a record day right after I defended him to yet another Jaguars fan. Every time I meet Jaguars fans or it doesn't even matter. Anybody, anywhere, I talk to them about covering the Jaguars, and what do they say to me? What do you think of Blake? Do you like Blake? Do you like Blake Bortles? What do you think of Blake Bortles? Should they get rid of Blake Bortles? I don't know if I really like Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles can't really do this. He can't really pass. He can't really. That's what I hear all the time when it comes to Blake Bortles. Anytime I tell anybody I cover the Jacksonville Jaguars, that is what I get. What about Blake? 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 All the time, without fail. So Blake Bortles had a career day yesterday, and I can't wait to talk about it. Since everybody asked me about Blake Bortles, we'll talk about it here. Johnny said, same Monday of every week, of every month, of every year. Shake my head at Sunday's play. It is awesome. This coming weekend, Aaron and I are going to Detroit. Let's go, Johnny. Johnny Bananas, loving it. Feeling so awesome about that. He gets to finally go to see his Detroit Lions live on location at Soldier Field, which is pretty amazing for you, and just an awesome experience for you, and you're going to enjoy it tremendously. I said Soldier Field. I obviously did not mean that. So it's very early this morning for me. I shouldn't say it's very early for me this morning. It's just been a very long week, is what I should say. Ford Field, and I was over at Ford Field during the NCAA tournament, and Syracuse playing there. I went over to Ford Field and hung out there. So it's funny, Johnny. I understand, and I apologize. Soldier Field, obviously the Chicago Bears. Ford Field is where Johnny will be, and that'll be exciting. So can't wait to speak on that with Johnny Bananas, and to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Plenty coming up, like I said. So we're going to start with the Monday morning quarterback, where Marvin Graves, quarterback of the Syracuse Orange, and one of the best in their history, him and I are, and when you talk about one of the best in their history, if you want to know the truth, if you want to know if that is a reality and not just an opinion, go back to the statistical categories of the quarterbacks at Syracuse and find him in the top 5, if not top 2, top 3 of almost every single category there is for quarterbacks in the history of Syracuse football. So shout out to Marvin Graves. He's going to be joining us in just a couple minutes here after we take a fast break. You'll hear from Marvin Graves. Then in the second hour of the show, we'll go on the prowl talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blake Bortles' career day for multiple reasons. And on top of that, you'll hear from 7 different Jaguars on the show today. Once again, you will hear from the likes of tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins, as well as fullback Tommy Bohannon, tight end James O'Shaughnessy, wide receiver and returner Jadon Mickens, cornerback A.J. Boye, defensive tackle Malik Jackson, and left tackle Josh Wells, all coming up in the second hour of today's broadcast. As we start with the Cuse, end with the Jags, talk a little bit about the NFL. We're having some fun. I'm just a little kid inside of a 32-year-old man's, heart and mind and body here, living my life and living my dreams. Just a little kid covering the Jaguars, covering Syracuse. If you told me I couldn't do it and there was no way to get it done, well, I'm sitting here today saying I've been doing it for over a decade. So God bless, and I just want every kid out there, no matter what your age is, to know that if you chase your dreams, you will catch them. You just have to be determined to get after those dreams, and you have to be determined to fight for what you want and what you believe in. But there is no dream that is out there that you cannot accomplish. You can achieve anything. So believe you can, and you will, and fight for it. God bless you. We'll be right back here with Monday Morning Quarterback with Marvin Graves in just a moment.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
For all of us that have always wanted our favorite restaurant to come to us, it's now a reality in Central New York with It's a Utica Thing, with Utica Pizza Company bringing their wonderful recipes that they've handed down through generations to you, to your event, to your business, to your home. It's a Utica Thing, proudly bringing Utica Pizza Company on wheels to your location. Call 315-738-8946. That's 315-738-8946 to bring Utica Pizza Company to your doorstep with It's a Utica Thing.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. It's always an honor and a privilege to have the guests that we're blessed to have on the show. We've had over 1,000 different people grace the stage here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and it is a tribute and a testament to the belief that there are good people out there when I tell you that the people that have been on this show have been tremendous. And one of those people that I always appreciate having on the show is none other than Marvin Graves. Marvin is somebody that I met last season at the Carrier Dome when he came back to see everything and to be around and enjoy the festivities and be around Dino Babers and the team. And it was truly amazing for me growing up in Syracuse, New York, to meet somebody like Marvin Graves and be able to talk with him. And after that, he came on the show a few times, and now every single Monday morning around 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, he is your Monday morning quarterback speaking on Syracuse, college football, and the NFL as a whole. And I, like I said, be a kid always and appreciate that. And if you told the little kid, me as a little kid growing up, that Marvin Graves was going to be hanging out with me on the air on Mondays, I would have jumped up and down. So with that being said, Marvin, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Dad. I appreciate that.
And so, the team's 4-1, Marvin. We're in a place right now where Syracuse is in good footing. They have 7 games to go. They have to win 2 to get to a bowl game. We're going to talk about a lot of different things with this game, but to paint a broad picture to kind of start off the conversation, what are your initial takeaways when that game ended and the clock struck 0? What was going through your mind when Syracuse lost in a close one on the road to Clemson?
I mean, it was like someone took the air out of a balloon. But you got to give credit to the Clemson team and the coaching staff and the fans. They made some adjustments, and I think the Syracuse defense got a little tired towards the end, and their solution was to run the football, and they had some good backs back there in ATN and playing with the third-string quarterback. So they just made a few more plays than we did, and those type of losses, you never get over them. But, just felt a little deflated. Felt bad for the team because they played so hard and so physical.
And, when you see that, like you said, taking the air out of a balloon, Syracuse commanded this game pretty much the majority of the way through, and then things started to, obviously change in the favor of Clemson at the end. What can you say about the run defense? Because Syracuse's defense has drastically improved, in my opinion, under Brian Ward this season, and, it was something the last couple seasons under Dino Babers, looking at this defense, and it didn't look like they could stop anybody. It didn't look like it was aggressive. It was tenacious, that they wanted. It was just kind of the scheming of it all made it look poor, and it made the players look poor. And I think that was unfair because the players are a lot better than the defense looked. Now in the last few games, they've been attacking, they've been getting after it, but against Clemson, they struggled to stop the run. There's multiple players from Choice to Feaster to Etienne that went after it on the ground and all found success against Syracuse. What did you take away from the run defense, and does it concern you right now?
It's a concern, but just from what I can remember from the game, it wasn't so much that the defense was totally out of place. I just think it was a few times that you got those one-on-one tackles, and you got to make those plays. And again, Clemson has some top-notch running backs. This guy ATN is definitely an NFL running back. And when it comes down to those one-on-one plays, I just think that they made the plays and we didn't. So I think the things are correctable. I tell you, man, I was impressed with how physical that defensive line played, how those guys were flying around. I'm still impressed as to where we're going with the orange and what Dino Babers and the staff is trying to establish. And I was impressed. I just think, the big thing that I would take away from this game, if I was a coach or a player, is, those guys are learning how to win. Now you got to just learn how to finish those games. So, your tackling has to be on point. And, I just think those are things that can be corrected.
When you see a game like that, do you ultimately feel like Syracuse had let one get away? I mean, in your opinion, were they commanding this game? Was it theirs to take? Because they're playing a top 3 ranked team in the country, a team who's a perennial contender in the college football playoff, and one of the great coaches of our time in Dabo Swinney. Yet Syracuse looked like, in my opinion, they had put Clemson on the ropes throughout this entire game for the majority of the game. So, I mean, what did you take away from it? Did you think Syracuse went into Death Valley, and despite the 27-23 loss, do you feel that they were the ones in the driver's seat, they were the ones in control?
Absolutely they were. I felt like we dominated the first half. We made some big plays. I think I texted you at halftime and said these first 2 or 3 possessions of the second half were going to be key.
Yeah.
And I really felt like they were. Clemson went in and made some adjustments, and Syracuse came out. I won't say a little sluggish, but when I look at the numbers, the third down conversions is something that we definitely got to get better at. I think they held our rushing game in check for the most part. So. Other than that, it was a tale of almost 2 halves. But Clemson is a hell of a football team. Like you said, they got one of the best coaches of our era, and you had to think that it was going to be some counter punches in the second half. And I just think they made. I think the team weathered the storm pretty good. I just think when it came down to it, Clemson made a few more plays than we did, and then. Of course, the big penalty on the fourth down, really hurt us. So if we make that fourth down conversion, I think we win the ball game. But those are the few plays that you'll hear coaches talking about. The play, it may come down to, one or two big plays in the game. And, I think that was, one of those plays that gave them a little more momentum.
Speaking here with Marvin Graves, former Syracuse quarterback, in Monday Morning Quarterback here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday, starting right around 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Marvin, like you said, that fourth down play where Syracuse elected to go for it on fourth down, and Dungy dropped back, looked like he was going to take a hit, and did a jump pass over the line and was able to find Aaron Hackett out in the field, and Aaron Hackett leaned, caught the ball, and was able to get the first down and then some over his defender. But Cody Conway down the field, Dino Babers blamed himself for it, said, listen, that's on me. He was just doing his job when he was supposed to do. He said, it's not on Cody, that's my fault. But, I mean, was that the – because I kind of circled a few different plays in this game that were, the points where Syracuse had essentially – you go back and you say you can't make a lot of mistakes against the great teams, and there was a few. Was that the one that stuck out the most to you, or was it the Dungy interception? Or, what was the play that you thought you can't – I know you can't give away, really any plays, but – what was the one that sticks out like a sore thumb? Was it the fourth down that was called back?
Really it's three plays that stick out in my mind, that being one of them. The interception before that, I think Dungy just misread it. I think if he put some air on that ball, we got a shot. There was one particular play. It was a third down, and I believe we ran sort of a zone read, and I think you could see Dino on the sideline put his arm around the offensive coordinator, because I think Clemson came with the blitz, and I think Dino may have wanted something else on that particular play. But what really stuck out is just the third down conversions. I think we were like 5 for 15 or something like that, and I just think that if we can convert some of those, we control the clock and keep ATN off the field. So the main thing is just the third down conversions in general. Like I said, I feel like we couldn't expect it would have been great to blow Clemson out, but you see the talent over there and playing in Death Valley. You expected them to counterpunch, and you just have to learn how to finish and learn how to get those third down conversions in that situation, and realize how important they are to keep the defense off the field. So, again, those are things that are definitely correctable. And, what we got to do this week is get back, put that behind us, and we really have to come out and play with the intensity that we played with against Clemson this week, coming up against who do we play this week? I'm sorry.
And playing up against Pittsburgh on the road.
It's Pittsburgh on the road, so this is going to be a tough one. The teams know each other really well, and but I think this is a huge week for us to bounce back. And like you said, we got 7 games left, and to get to 5-1 and put this Clemson week behind us.
Yeah, and that's a big part of this. And like you said, as far as where Syracuse stood on third down, 3 of 15 in the game. Clemson wasn't much better at 5 and 15. Both teams struggling there on third down, but obviously when you're 3 of 15 and you can't move the ball down the field and you're not capitalizing on what the defense is giving you, only 20% effective. If you're 40+, that's good on third down, definitely. And that's the other thing, too, as we talk about the defense. The defense had set up this offense multiple times in the second half. And like you said, a little bit sluggish, a little bit dry. Syracuse had a bunch of quick possessions, trying a few things and then punting the ball back. And just what you can say about, the importance of that, because you played quarterback for Syracuse. You know what it's like to get that opportunity when the defense does what it does, when Kendall Coleman is sacking. I mean, there was 4 sacks on the quarterback in this game for Syracuse against Clemson. And so in these moments when you're pushing them back, you're forcing them to punt, you're getting better field position, capitalizing on these are imperative. just what you could say about that with Syracuse is that the defense has been the issue. The defense has been the things that people have been looking at in recent history. Now the defense is doing kind of similar to what they did when Schaefer was the coordinator, and that is giving consistent opportunities throughout the game that the offense just didn't take in this one. So just what you could say about the improvement of the defense, because they sure as heck gave multiple opportunities, a lot of opportunities I don't think people even gave them credit for going into the game, that they were able to give back to the Syracuse offense, especially with their ability to get to the quarterback.
Well, I think that, again, as an offense, when you're going up against, the number 3 team in the nation, you have to play down in situation football. And again, that's something we can learn from this past weekend is, when you see the defense playing that well, I felt like the whole team was playing well, but that energy that you get when the defense is out there making plays, getting sacks, putting big hits on players, that builds momentum, that builds confidence. And, we just have to be able to finish in those moments. We did have them on the ropes. Again, you got to come out in the second half knowing that the other team is going to make adjustments. You make your adjustments, but there has to be an emphasis on down in situation because every single play is crucial once you're in that position. You just got to learn how to, step on the neck and finish it off.
And do you think that Syracuse is close? I mean, from what they've shown you and what they've done up to this point, are they becoming that dog, in your opinion? Are they giving you that atmosphere that they are going to be that? Are they going to be, that type of team, in your opinion, where they will be able to step on the neck and close the door, slam it, lock it, put the bolt on it, lock it again? Do you feel like they're getting there?
I think we're getting there. I definitely think we're getting there. This is a work in progress, and, Clemson didn't get to where they are right now overnight. Alabama didn't get to where they are overnight. If you look at the trend since Dino's been there, I think you have to be impressed as to where we're going. And in order to be the best, you have to play against the best teams. And, we came up short. But the encouraging thing is these are all things that can be corrected. These are all things that can be fixed. I don't feel like we were, just out-talented. I think, we had, talent on the field to win the football game. So when you go back and do the breakdown, you got to look at, okay, well, where did we go wrong? And like I said, tackling on defense, third down conversions on offense, and just the ability to play sound situational football are things that, you can get better at. And the next time we're in those positions, we should see a different result.
When you see, speaking here with Marvin Graves and Monday Morning Quarterback, Syracuse quarterback in the history of the team, and if you look into the record books of Syracuse, many of those records right there in the upper echelon of the top 3 in almost every single category is Marvin Graves in Syracuse football history. Marvin, when Syracuse stepped into the ACC, as opposed to what's happening now, Syracuse defeated Clemson last year, and they had them on the ropes this year. Are they ahead of schedule, in your opinion? Did you think that they would play this well against the top of the ACC just a few seasons in? Are they impressing you as far as where, like you said, everything takes time? Are they impressing you, and are they ahead of schedule of where you thought they would be at inside of the ACC?
I'll be honest with you. I think we're ahead of schedule. I think we're playing, honestly, a little better than I expected us to play. I know the work that, the players and the staff is putting in, but I really believe that, we're ahead of schedule. If we pull that game off, we'll be having a different conversation about Dino Favors and his staff and where the program is. So, that game right there, although it was a loss, there's a lot good to take away from it. Because what I saw was a defensive line that was getting after it. I just saw a team that believed. I saw a team that had a little swag. I didn't see a team that go in Death Valley and was intimidated and, waited till, a big play happened to believe that they can win the game. That team went in there with the belief that they can beat that team, and that's why we had a 16-7 lead at halftime. So I definitely think, we're ahead of schedule. I think the guys really believe, and I think, that has to be attributed to Dino and his staff. These guys were ready to play football, and I think you got to give them credit for that. The key is, like I said, the key is to bounce back this week and have an impressive win against Pittsburgh, a tough Pittsburgh team.
What would be your advice to Syracuse this week? Because last season they played up against Clemson. They defeated Clemson, but then they went on to go 0-5 the rest of the season. This time they play a close one with them. The mentality is a big thing in this game. It doesn't get talked about enough. I try to talk it up here as much as I possibly can, that having strong mind and a strong will is what really ultimately changes the game for the positive for you more than anything else, is being able to stay focused and know what you want and go after it, not let the outside noise get in, and not let the sins of the past or mistakes of the past affect what you can be in the present and the future. So what would be your advice to Syracuse after this loss by 4 points as they head into Pittsburgh? What's the advice for you?
Well, the advice is, we gotta take a look at this film, and we gotta be open to constructive criticism, and that's across the board. The players make plays, but I think that the coaching staff did a great job as far as game planning. But me being a coach myself, at some point in time, and knowing the game plan, and there was a couple of calls that I think that they would want back offensively. So my thing is to take a look at the film, feel the pain. It should hurt. You should be upset, but you got to get over it. You got to look at the film, and I think when you break down the film and they look at the film, you can say, man, we really could have won this football game, and we have to, focus on the details. Again, situational football on both sides of the ball. And just go back to the basics, defense, tackling, getting the push up front. Tackling is key. Offensively, moving the chains and just making good decisions with the football. And again, I can't stress enough, just understanding the situations in the football game, 1st and 10, 2nd and long, things of that nature. So, again, those are things that can be corrected. So I would just say just back to the basics. Give them credit. Give your opponent credit. Last week they got away with one, but we got to move on because there's still a lot of football to play.
And in seeing a lot of football left to play here on the docket, when we look at the games, at Pittsburgh and then home against North Carolina, home against NC State, at Wake, home against Louisville, Yankee Stadium game against Notre Dame, and then at BC. When we look at these kind of going down the line, I want to see and get your thoughts, because we did this right after the game. Marvin, are you willing to kind of just go down here with us and tell us, win loss in your opinion right now? Because I think we can, on paper, it's pretty amazing what Syracuse could end up being if they actually do this in word and deed moving forward. So can we go down the schedule with you and kind of get your thoughts on each of these games? If I name the game off, tell me if you think they're going to win or lose that game. Is that fair?
Sure.
All right. So at Pittsburgh, what do you think?
I think we win. I think we win at Pittsburgh. I think we have an offensive explosion. I think we win by 17+.
All right. North Carolina at home.
North Carolina at home. I think we start slow, but then we pick up the pace. I just think the offense will be able to score points this year. I think that'll be another game that we'll win. It may end up being a little closer, so I'll say we'll win by 9 or 10 points.
Okay, so you got 2 wins. That would be a bowl-eligible team at that point. And so that would give Syracuse a 6-1 record. North Carolina State at home, they're now ranked in the top 25. What do you think about that one, win or loss?
I think we blow North Carolina State out at home.
All right, so that's a 7-1 team at Wake Forest, who just fired their defensive coordinator. Not a bad team, but trying to find their footing. They're 3-2 overall. What do you think about that one on the road at Wake Forest in Winston-Salem?
I think that one on the road, I think we come out with a quick start. I think we put up a lot of points in the first half, and we see our backup guys playing late in the second quarter, early in the third quarter.
So you got a win with that one as well. That would put Syracuse, that would give them 5, 6, 7, 8 wins, 8-1. What about the Louisville game Friday night in the Carrier Dome?
Definitely a winnable game. I think this may be a game that we actually do get off to a fast start at home. For whatever reason, sometimes playing at home, there's a lot of distractions with tickets and family and friends, but I actually think we can get off to a good start. The offense will be rolling, defense will be playing well, and I think after facing Lamar Jackson for a couple of years, I think we win handily at home against Louisville.
That is a 9-1 team. Notre Dame in Yankee Stadium ranked in the top 10. What do you think about this?
Wow, that's going to be a huge game. I think this team is built to play on the road. I think we saw it against Clemson, and I think that sitting at 9-1, going down to Notre Dame, I think that this is a situation where defensively, if we can turn them over and actually, make some tackles, I think offensively we definitely can move the ball and score some points. I think Syracuse wins it in a nail-biter field goal by the freshman kid. We win the ball game 31-30.
And at Boston College. So you got a 10-1 team right now at Boston College. What do you think?
At Boston College, going to see a lot of run game there. Again, I think defensively will be a key. One, to not give up big plays, and two, to keep the running game in check. I think offensively, we're facing all the teams that we have faced up until that point. I think Dungy and that offense will be rolling. I think we win that football game. High scoring. I think we're 40-something, 30-something.
So you got Syracuse at 11-1 coming out of this season. Going, I mean, if that's them, this could be an ACC championship team. This could be a team that's getting a New Year's Six or a New Year's Six bowl. I mean, this if that's where they stand at the end of all of this at 11-1, then Syracuse would have one of the not only their greatest season in 2+ decades, but essentially they would have, like I said, a great bowl, an opportunity to play in the ACC championship game. A lot of big things would come up with this. So that you went down the line, you got the team at 11-1. Now that I tell that to you and you hear 11-1, is that believable? Is it a little bit of your heart more than your head? Where do you see everything with this? Because you gave reasoning for each, but this is something that Syracuse fans have they don't experience this from year to year or even decade to decade. So what makes you believe that this team could get to that point, be 11-1, and have themselves a season that would by far eclipse anything that they've done in 2 or 3 seasons combined?
I think obviously I'm a little biased, but I was really impressed, the way we came out against Clemson. I see the team very confident. I see the team very physical. I don't see the team backing down to anyone. So that tells me that they're buying into what they're doing. I just believe this offense can get better. I believe the defense is getting better. And I just believe when teams believe in each other, you accomplish more than you even expect. You accomplish more than the fans expect. And I'm just looking down the schedule, I just really believe that if those mistakes that can be corrected from last week can continuously get better on a week-by-week basis, third down conversion, that keeps the other offense off the field, scoring a few more points. I just really believe that we can outscore some teams and be in 11-1 position. So I really do believe that this week is key. I feel like if we can win this week, which I think we can, I just think that we can continue to play more sound football and just continue to get better. It's a work in progress, but, why not us this year?
That coming from Marvin Graves, Syracuse quarterback in the history of Syracuse football and in the record books in the top 2 or 3 in the majority of the categories for Syracuse quarterbacks historically. Marvin, before I let you go, what do you think is the key area that Syracuse has to work on the most? I know you said, moving the ball, and we talked about third down conversion and keeping their offense off the field. Is the run game the biggest thing that you circle as the biggest concern to be corrected right now, or is it something else?
I definitely think you have to be balanced. We rushed the ball really well through the first 4 games, and I feel like Clemson really shut that down for the most part. So, again, I think those are things that can be corrected with play calling and scheme. And sometimes, good teams make good plays, and they make plays. So I really feel like offensively, you just got to be better at situational football. And defensively, back to the basics, just tackling. I think for the most part, we had guys in position for the most part. We just got to be sound. And if everybody can do that and be fundamentally sound and be comfortable with the system, you can go out and fly around and play football. And I just see that's where we're going. So I don't think there's anything really major that has to be changed. I just think when they see the film, they'll be a little more frustrated at the opportunity that we let slip away and see that those things can be corrected. So it makes for a better team, not only for the guys that are playing, but for the guys that could potentially be playing, whether there's an injury or someone's not producing and things of that nature. So everything that I saw from the past weekend is definitely fixable within that locker room.
That coming from Marvin Graves. Marvin, final piece of this. Syracuse is not ranked in the top 25. I thought that if they defeated the Clemson Tigers, then absolutely 100% they would be in the top 25, should be in the top 25. If they were 5-0, defeated Clemson, had every right to be there at that point. Post-game show that we did on Facebook Live, facebook.com/live-now-DT with myself and John Newman. We sat there and we went through the list, and I went through at the time the ranker from this past week from 19 to 25, and I talked out the majority of those teams and put Syracuse in above them, the Oregons of the world and the Michigan States and and some of the other teams that had been in there, the Dukes and the Mississippi States and the Californias and the Texas Techs and whatnot. So, after all of that, I said if they won, definitely in the top 25. If they lost, I still see them in the top 25 because the teams, especially at the bottom of the top 25, were a bunch of teams who were undefeated but played no-ranked teams, or they were whatever and one loss, and that one loss was to a ranked team, and it was a loss by 16 or a loss by 20 or a loss by whatever, where they got slammed by the other team, where Syracuse only lost by 4 on the road. So I said, if you look at the loss, Syracuse's loss is not as bad. It's to a higher-ranked team. They've beaten unranked teams, which all these other teams did that were ranked. So I argued a case that Syracuse should be ranked this week in the top 25, even though they lost to Clemson. What are your thoughts on it? Should Syracuse have been included in the rankings this week?
I believe so. I think they put on a great showing. I don't think for the people that actually saw the game, it wasn't a bunch of trick plays or anything like that. I think we came out and physically played with Clemson to a point where I don't think people expected. So I think it was an impressive loss against the top 3 team in the nation. I feel like they should be in the top 25, but that's just what I think. That's what you think. I think those guys don't need to focus on that. I think they need to keep focusing on where the ship is going, and it's going to a beautiful place. And when the time is right, we'll be ranked. And a lot of that is a lot of fluff anyway, to be honest with you. But the powers that be have to rank it, so it's just a matter of, I don't know, personal opinion or a formula that they have to actually put teams in the top 25. It just shows the lack of respect for the Orangemen. But again, I think the world saw what we're about. I think the world saw that we're not a fluke. We didn't come out there running a bunch of trick plays. That defensive line got after it. We were out there hitting hard. We just ran into a team that happened to be at home and, didn't give up. They made a few more plays than we did. And, if you don't think Syracuse is for real, I think you're sadly mistaken.
Absolutely. And I think if you look at the rankers, with the Associated Press this week, simply put, Wisconsin, Miami, Oregon, Michigan State, and Colorado have not gotten any better wins than Syracuse. They haven't done anything. Wisconsin's ranked 16th in the country. They defeated New Mexico, Western Kentucky, and Iowa. None of those teams are ranked, and they lost to BYU, who at the time was not ranked. We look at Miami. Miami lost to LSU. Now, that's the ranked loss that Miami has. Miami has a ranked loss to LSU when LSU is ranked 25th in the country. They lost by 16, almost 3 touchdowns. Syracuse lost by 4 to the top 3 ranked team in the country, so remember that. And then Miami went on to defeat Savannah, Toledo, FIU, and the worst team in the ACC, North Carolina. And then Oregon, in their games, they lost to Stanford, and they lost to Stanford by 7. They defeated Cal, who's not ranked anymore. They defeated San Jose State. They defeated Portland State, and they defeated Bowling Green. None of those teams are ranked. Michigan State, when we look at this is all in the AP. Michigan State is ranked. They defeated Utah State, who's not ranked. Lost to Arizona State, who is not ranked. Defeated Indiana, defeated Central Michigan. Both of those teams are not ranked. And then Colorado, their games, they defeated Colorado State unranked, Nebraska unranked, New Hampshire unranked, UCLA unranked. So, these are the teams that can say they're 4-0 or 3-1 or 4-1 or whatever it may be. But if Wisconsin is not only in the top 25, but they're 16, Miami's 17, Oregon's 18, Michigan State's 20, Colorado's 21, I don't think any one of those teams has a better case than Syracuse, and every single one of those teams has a loss except for Colorado. So, with that being said, like you said, it's kind of fluff, and at the same time, you wonder, are these people choosing with their head? Are they choosing with the research? Are they choosing with reality? Or, are they trying to please a little bit of this and please a little bit of that? And I'm not trying to knock everybody that's voting in this poll by any stretch of the imagination. The reality of it all is Wisconsin, Miami, Oregon, Michigan State, and Colorado do not have a better case than Syracuse to at least put Syracuse at 25th, and that's how it looks this week, in my opinion.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Again, I don't know how they make these rankings, but I think a lot of it is predicated on previous seasons and the expectation on paper that this team is supposed to be have this many wins, or this team is supposed to beat this team. I just think, a lot of it is predicated on previous years, the actual university. And again, everybody can't be in the top 25, but I mean, come on, man. If you're really looking at football and you saw the game last weekend, we should be sitting at least 25.
No, and I absolutely agree with you with that, and wholeheartedly agree with you with that, because that's real. And you brought up the point. It should be about this season, these games, this moment, this time. Not how many years has Syracuse been out of the top 25, which is 17 years. But I think that all of that plays a factor. It's a lot harder to take a team out who's in every year than put a team in who hasn't been in almost 2 decades. And it's going back to the past. It's going to the struggles. It's, they haven't been to a bowl. And none of that should matter. What should matter is the here and now. You can't date a girl and talk to her about what happened in your relationship 3 years ago and what this girl did to you and it's her fault and yada, yada. You got to face today. You got to face the here and now in order to, be in that relationship and be focused. So to the people in the AP and to the coaches poll, I would say the same thing. It's not about past relationships. It's not about past years. It's not about this girlfriend, that girlfriend. It's about right now, who you're with and what they're doing in this moment. And in this moment for Syracuse, they have more than proven that they deserve to be somewhere there, even if you make them that very last 25th spot. So I agree with you. I think that Syracuse is getting knocked for their recent history, and they're they're in that situation where they've been out of it for so long that it's a lot easier for people to argue that they stay out as opposed to bringing them in. But I think that they've done more than enough to prove themselves, and I think, moving forward, if they take down Pittsburgh and handle them well, then, that would put them at 5-1, and at that point, I really wouldn't understand. I don't understand it now, but I would definitely not understand it if that be the case and they're still not in this thing.
Absolutely. I think, you said it well, and I just think going back to your earlier question, my advice to the team is be pissed off. Be pissed off and, keep that in the back of your mind. You will be ranked in the top 25 and the top 10 one day, but you got to be a little pissed off that, you're not being respected around the country, and I think that's enough fuel to the fire to go out and correct those little things. Well, I won't say little things. I will go out and correct those things that can change a game from a loss to a win, like this past weekend. So, we'll be there. The key is to focus on this week. You can only play one game at a time, and right now that's Pittsburgh. And we really have to come out and get off to a great start and finish the game, not let up. Just stay aggressive and play good situational football, and we'll see what happens.
That coming from Marvin Graves right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. He's our Monday morning quarterback. He's with us every Monday morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. He believes in this Syracuse team, and rightly so, with a lot of things that they have done up to this point. On paper, they should be able to take care of business. Now it's about doing it in the real world and making that a reality and not just a dream. Marvin Graves, as always, sir, I appreciate you. I thank you for taking some time, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Go SU.
All right, take care. That coming from Marvin Graves on the show once again. Marvin Graves giving his thoughts on Syracuse. He believes that Syracuse could not lose the rest of the regular season. He's arguing that Syracuse could be 11-1. And the crazy thing about it is, Notre Dame, they're going to falter, okay? Notre Dame every single year is good for one weird loss, right? They do something, and what I mean by weird loss is they do something, uncharacteristic. They lose to a team they're not supposed to. That could be the Syracuse team, depending on how Syracuse plays and who shows up, in this New York City opportunity at Yankee Stadium coming up here. But at Pittsburgh, and I argued the team could win 9 or 10 games. That's what I said. I said I think Pittsburgh, Louisville, and Notre Dame are the ones that and NC State are the ones that can kind of go either way that I circle. I think, they should be able. And the thing about the reality of it all is you have to look at what Syracuse's strengths are, okay? They struggle against the run. Boston College has one of the best runners in the country in A.J. Dillon. So, and they have a running quarterback in Anthony Brown, and they know how to run the score up, and they're not a team that's just playing defense and that's it anymore. They're playing defense, and they can score the ball, which has made them lethal and more dangerous than Boston College maybe has ever been, definitely has been in a very long time offensively. So, BC, that's a tough game. Notre Dame, top 10 ranked team. How does Syracuse go into this? Do they walk into this like the Clemson game and say, I don't care where you're ranked, I don't care who you are, I don't care how many stars you're athletes have, I just know that we can go toe-to-toe, and when we line up in the dirt, we're going to smack you, we're going to make it really difficult for you, and we're going to win this thing. Syracuse walks in like that, could be something special. Remember, Greg Robinson's team beat Notre Dame, and they really didn't beat anybody ever, so under Greg Robinson. Louisville, I think that this is an interesting game, kind of a trap game, because they should beat Louisville, but I just have a gut feeling that game is going to be more interesting than you want it to be in the sense of nail-biting. Wake Forest, they're struggling on defense to even line up in the same defense. I talked to Dave Clausen about it. I think that, it's on the road at Wake, so that gives it, some value on the side of picking Wake Forest. But, this is Syracuse. They went on the road at Clemson. The big thing about Syracuse is they have to prove that they can win on the road. That's what they have to prove to everybody, that they can win, or not to anybody, to themselves, that they can win on the road. Because this team historically, in recent history, does not win on the road. They have to show that they can go somewhere else. Tallahassee, Death Valley, wherever it is, Pittsburgh, Winston-Salem, Boston, show that you can win on the road. Show that you can do that. Show that you could go away from home and handle your business. That is a huge component and a huge piece of this team, is showing what you could do on the road. They go to bowl games, they win them, right? They've won their last 3. They won the Texas Bowl in Texas, obviously, against Minnesota, and they beat Kansas State and West Virginia inside of Yankee Stadium for the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. So they can win when they're away from home in these bowl games. Now they have to show that they can do it in the regular season and do it against competition that's, that is that litmus test for them to show what they could do. When I say, who do I think are the wins that I feel confident about? I think North Carolina at home. I think NC State at home, at Wake Forest. Those are wins for me. That gives them 7 wins on the season. They're bowl eligible. They're going to a bowl game. At Pittsburgh, this is a game where they really have to show what they could do to bounce back. I think the at Pittsburgh, at Boston College, those are the ones where I sit here and say the last time they went to Pittsburgh, they allowed 76 points. They got the same quarterback. They got, different skill players, and this defense has gotten better. But now they have to showcase that. You gotta shake that off, what happened in Pittsburgh the last time around, where it looked like a basketball game, and Pittsburgh and Syracuse actually outscored the basketball teams that season. When they went 76-61 in favor of Pitt, they played on the basketball court for men's basketball that season to follow and didn't even score that many points, which is 137 points and a record in the FBS Division 1A college football. So, for me, I think, at Pittsburgh, at BC, one of those could be a loss, right? So let's say 4. So you got 4-2. North Carolina, NC State, Wake, those are wins. So you got 7-2. Louisville, I think, is a trap game and kind of a danger zone. So you got to figure out where you're going to go with that one. But I think that, I know Marvin Graves said 11-1, that the one loss, he gives them one loss, coming through here, and the rest of them wins to go 7-0 throughout this. I think it's going to be extremely difficult to do it. But you can argue 9-3, you can argue 10-2. On paper, I can argue more for Syracuse than against Syracuse, but it's which team shows up. Again, we talked about it with Marvin Graves. It's the mentality. That side of it, mental toughness, that is the thing that separates you from anything in your life. Mental toughness. When your family is getting crazy and getting you down, mental toughness. When your job and your boss, mental toughness. When the media, mental toughness. When the internet and social media, mental toughness. On the field, mental toughness. What they're saying about you, mental toughness. If you are strong mentally, if you can handle the world mentally, if you can shut out the noise and know who you are and love yourself and not let the demons inside your mind, then yeah, this Syracuse team could win 9-11 games coming through the rest of the regular season. They can do it. I've argued them at 9-3. I think they could even be better than that. But it comes down to, I'm not crazy here. You're not crazy for thinking it, but it's how the team responds. It's how guys like Antoine Cordy and Kylan Whitner and Chris Frederick and Scoop Bradshaw and Eric Dungy and Dante Strickland and Mo Neal, the guys that have been through hell, that have seen the nasty, that have seen the worst of the worst, it's how these guys will respond. Aaron Service, Cody Conway, Sam Heckel, Aaron Roberts, how these guys will respond that have been in the trenches, been in these moments with Syracuse where they shoulda, woulda, coulda, and they didn't. It's about separating yourself from that, being mentally tough to leave the past in the past, know that the mistakes you made then will only repeat themselves if you let them, and to move forward from here. Syracuse is capable of winning 9 to 11 games for the rest of the season. I did not stutter, nor did Marvin Graves, nor did John Newman. It's a reality, folks. Only if Syracuse is mentally tough and makes it a reality. Let's take a step aside for a fast break. We will be back with the Jacksonville Jaguars on the prowl in just a moment.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or ice milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Clothing that will change with you without you having to change. DreissiglLady.com, DREISSIG Lady.com. With the Bamboo line Relaxed Fit clothing as well as the Athletic Fit clothing, DreissiglLady.com is fit for any woman, any time of the day, anywhere. Whatever you're doing, whatever your day commands of you, command yourself to feel comfortable in Dreissig Lady Apparel. DREISSIG Lady.com. For all the women out there, feel good in what you're wearing and don't feel like you have to constantly change throughout the day. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, going for a jog, going for a meeting, or just relaxing at home, DreisigLady.com is the right fit for you. DREISSIG Lady.com.
This is Lawrence Papaleo, licensed real estate salesperson for Gilbo Realty. Call our home office at 315-752-9513, or better yet, call or text me directly at 315-748-2524.
Let me ask you a question, Lawrence. If I needed you to help me buy a house, find the right place, could you help me do that?
Joe, I'll help you find your dream home.
You don't ever say my name on the radio, never. If I needed to sell a house, could you help me go about that the right way?
Yes, I can.
How do they get a hold of you?
Call me directly at 315-748-2524.
But you also do the commercial property. So if I got a business, couple businesses, got to take one here, move it over there, do this, do that, are you going to help me buy and sell my commercial property also?
Yes, sir.
I like that. What's my name again?
I have no idea.
Absolutely, but they need to know your name, so give it one more time.
This is Lawrence Papaleo, licensed real estate salesperson for Gilbo Realty. My phone number is 315-748-2524.
Why don't you tell them your name one more time and that number so we can jot it down?
This is Lawrence Papaleo. Call me or text me directly at 315-748-2524.
Get Hilton quality service at the most affordable price at True by Hilton Camillus, located right next to Costco in Township 5. True by Hilton Camillus offers you their signature Top It breakfast bar with over 30 different toppings to personalize the most important meal of the day. All complimentary with your stay. For reservations and information, call 315-314-8676. That's 315-314-8676. True by Hilton Camillus. Hilton quality service at the most affordable price.
Thank you so much for tuning in to part one of our broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Make sure that you head over to part two of episode 178 of 2018, and that is our On the Prowl segment where you will hear me with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the signature Wake Up Call segment On the Prowl, where I will speak with, this time around, left tackle Josh Wells, as well as defensive tackle Malik Jackson, cornerback A.J. Boye, fullback Tommy Bohannon, tight ends James O'Shaughnessy, as well as Austin Safarian Jenkins, and wide receiver and specialist Jadon Mickens.